Oh, Naira tumbles to 900 Naira per US dollar as CBN vows to clamp down on BDC operators. Welcome to Business Daily. I am Yusuf Akogu. Let's take our business top stories. Glad to have you back. Earlier in the week, the 48 ministers were inaugurated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll look at how much is to cost Nigeria, the taxpayers' money, to maintain 48 ministers in the next 4 years. Of course, we have the graphics analysis of that. Of course, if you look at the number of ministers, for example, this is the highest that we have in the cabinet, a very expanded cabinet you have. From Obasanjo, it was 40. It came down during the Yaradua era. Jonathan even brought it down more to 33. Of course, Buhari raised it to 36, and of course moving down to 42, and now we're having 48 ministers, and on Monday about 45 of them were actually inaugurated. So if you look at what it will cost Nigeria to maintain them, these are the salaries and allowances of 48 ministers for the next 4 years, 1.497 billion naira. If you look at the allowances, it's even more, 7.15 billion naira. Of course, the total salaries, allowances for the next 4 years for all the 48 ministers is about 8.653 billion naira. This is higher than the recurrent expenditure of the 2023 budget as well. So about 7.8 million naira is actually the annual monthly salary, annual salary for the ministers. Of course, if you go to the allowances, it's about 31 million naira. The gap between the salaries and allowances is indeed very, very high. We will discuss this on the show today, but quickly we'll move to the stock market to see how the market closed yesterday. Very, very marginal, 0.01% there. The of course, volume of trade 348.323 million naira, value at 4.047 billion in the deals of about 6,233. We'll look at the top gainers on the day. Of course, IBC Transport gained 9.62% to close at 52 kobo per share as well. Tom's Way gained 9.30% to close at 1 naira 41 kobo. And Transco Hot completes in the top 3 gainers table on Wednesday, 8.99% to close at 40 naira per share. On the losing side, we have corn oil. It lost 10%. That is the highest on the day, 99 naira per share. It closed on the day. Darcom, been a while that we see Darcom on the activity chart. 9.38% on the day to close at 29 kobo. Of course, Red Star Rest, 2 naira 92 kobo. It closed on the day, and of course, it lost 8.75%. The top traded equities are the likes of Transcorp Nigerian Limited. Have been there for a very long time. 145 million volume of its shares were traded on Wednesday. Of course, Universal Insurance not also losing out there. 27.5 million volume of shares. And of course, Dangote Sugar Refinery, 16.1 million volume of shares. Let's look at the rest of Africa and how they are doing. Of course, only Joburg is in green. The rest are down there in red, 0.66% there. Of course, the BRICS meeting going on there is actually, boosting the performance of Johannesburg Stock Exchange. In Ghana, it's down 0.08%. The whole gain of yesterday was actually, eroded on the floor. In Nairobi, in Kenya, the market closed in the negative territory, 0.94%. It ended. We clearly look at the commodity prices. How are they doing in Nigeria? Prices of rice in Abuja is between 35,000 to 45,000 naira for 50 kg bag. Same in Lagos. If you go down to Jos, it came down to 32,000. In Ilori, it's about 30,000. And of course, in Ibadan, 35. In Port Harcourt, 36,500. And 25 kg in Lagos, about 17,000. Depends on the brand you're buying. And of course, 25 kg in Sokoto is around 15,000 naira. But if you're buying 100 kg bag in Sokoto, you need to hold as much as 60,000 naira. We look at tomatoes. Of course, these are very, very important food items in Nigeria. 40 kg bag in Kaduna State, and Shaw Market in Kaduna is around 20,000 naira. And of course, if you look at the same 40 kg bag in Umuahia, Abia State, is 33,000 naira. Let's look at the price differential there, about 13,000 difference. In Lagos, it came down to 30,000. If you go down to Ughelli Main Market in Delta State, it's about 35,000 naira. And of course, in Gboko Main Market in Benue State, the food basket of the nation is around 35,000 naira. It's a highlight of some of the commodity prices that we have for you today. Well, our discussion for today will center around the palliatives and, of course, the need to cut the cost of governance. And this report by Kehinde Amodu set the tone for our discussion.
The harsh economic environment has blinded Nigerians to the fact that all presidential candidates had agreed that Nigeria could not afford to keep on fuel subsidy. Some actions taken by the previous administration also had far-reaching implications on present-day realities.
He was very clear with Nigerians, as were the other presidential candidates on this issue, that there was going to be the implementation of the full removal of the fuel subsidy. Everybody was in agreement that that was in the interest of the nation, even as it was going to bring short-term pain.
There was no way you were going to avoid forex volatility, as it were. If you just printed 22, 23 trillion naira pumped into the system with nothing to back it by way of ways and means, which was what happened under the previous regime. There is no way you will pump all of those and not expect prices, inflation, and exchange rate to give way.
The Tinubu administration has already taken steps to remedy the situation.
We've seen a dramatic decline. Daily Trust reported it, dramatic decline in the parallel market as it relates to the value of the dollar in the parallel market, and of course the rise in the value of the naira against the dollar in the parallel market. These are not accidents. These are direct outcomes of the interventions made by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Nigerians can expect more relief to come in the days ahead.
I believe that the central bank is doing its utmost and probably expecting naira stability in the days ahead, trying to make the best of a bad situation, as it were.
Government does acknowledge that the burden on the people, especially the removal of subsidy, has profoundly affected the Nigerian cost of living.
The pump price for PMS in our West African neighbors is significantly higher. In some countries, even double what the current Nigerian pump price is. Even as we agree on that fundamental reality, you also recognize the shock value of increasing fuel price from where it was to where it is today. And we are promising our people that it will not be for nothing.
With a new cabinet in place, decision-making will revolve around a larger set of professionals, some of whom are connected to their people. It is expected that the volume of shock decisions will lessen and allow government to stabilize.
A lot of promises there from the federal government. They are promising Nigeria. There are quite a lot of policies being put in place to ensure that, you know, that cushion the effects of the current hardship that the masses are actually facing. But again, what are even the masses themselves saying? This report from Hamid Oyegbadi from Osun State also, you know, highlights the reactions and the feelings of Nigerians regards to the current economic hardship.
The current economic hardship in Nigeria has subjected many people in the country to hunger and suffering. In a bid to cushion the effect of the economic hardship, the federal government sent bags of rice to state governments for distribution to the poor. But for Remi Adekunle and Fele Asho, sharing rice cannot be the solution to the hardship and suffering in the country.
So they should help us to build the refineries. They should not share the food for us. We don't need their food. What we need from them is to use the money to build the refineries for us so that the price of the petrol will go down. Everybody will benefit from that one.
You guys cannot serve as adequate palliative for Nigerians. Nigerians are so hungry more than all this rice distribution. How many bags of rice are given to the states? How many bags would the state distribute to each family?
Keeping that rice is just a mere wasting of time. We saw what happened during the NSAS. Some palliative were given to state government. They kept it. A lot of them got spoiled.
The total number of rice allocated to Osun State happened to be 3,050 kg rice. And out of which we have received 2,400 so far.
The residents advised both the federal and state government to devise strategies to stabilize the economy for the betterment of all Nigerians.
Nigerians indeed expressing their reservation with regards to the current palliative measures being put in place by the federal government. Let me get the reaction of my guest, Moses Egbiremhon. He is a businessman and, of course, a public affairs commentator. He joins me right here in the studio. Glad to have you on Business Daily.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you've listened to the federal government and, of course, Nigerians themselves have also spoken. What's your reaction?
Okay, so first of all, everything seems funny in a way, but we know clearly that this is like a solution, like a shock absorber to the entire shock already from the entire government.
Absolutely.
But one of the things right here is that the government should also expect the reservations from people right now because of the last experience. They say once beaten, twice shy.
Absolutely.
When we hear palliative, it reminds you of COVID, it reminds you of the last experience and all of that. And it's more or less like what exactly would be the difference? I heard of a man who said, how is this going to solve our problem? Even if the palliatives are being shared, the man that is hungry, if you have to give him today, how do you keep surviving him consistently?
Absolutely. For how long? For how long
and all of that. So this is really much of an issue. And beyond all this too, people are looking beyond just palliative. And the government has to relate with that. Should stop treating the country, the average Nigeria like a beggar. Like a beggar. Let's give them small crumbs so they can just eat and all of that. This is beyond crumbs. People are looking for a better life. People are looking for a way to see their own dreams come to pass. They should start looking at the individual's economy and see how much. But I know these things we are experiencing this problem more and more because of the first problem is the country not seeing its citizens as citizens. When you prioritize your own people, goes beyond just what can we just give to them. Start thinking beyond that. And another major thing again that I've always wondered in times like this, when we have a system where the judiciaries are not really acting on those that have really caused these harms and all of that, like the last palliative issues and all of that, when people know they can create harms and then go on with it and all of that, it's really a problem. So it's not really bringing the ideas. The ideas might be nice, but what are the systems to checkmate this and ensure that we get to the actual result and the expected end of it? Will people really get this? And that's it.
Absolutely. If you look at what the Labour, the NLC are actually saying, that like the federal government has voted about 180 billion naira, that is 5 billion naira to all the 36 states. If you add FCT, that's 185 billion naira. Now, from the report that we had, the last poverty report that we got from NBS, about 133 million Nigeria are in multi-dimensional poverty as we speak. So if you share this money, 185 billion naira amongst these numbers, it's just 1,500 naira per person. Now the NLC is faulting this. Now, if you are in the president's shoe, what do you think he should do?
Just like I said, first of all, you know, when we say let the poor breathe, the poor are even choking right now. This is like black and white. It's not a question for the president. Like, obviously, people can survive with it. This is not a solution. If we must have a city where the people are being put first, because it has to be the people considered first. That's the first problem. Because if I can give you, it's just like the way people take, if I can afford to give you things and I just assume you deserve anything. Trust me, it always works with what I assume you to be. Do I consider you first? It's just like the way people take care of their slaves, their maids. They take their children to a good school. Then when it comes to the maid, they could have the money. The money is available, but this is not for the maid. And that's the way the government sees the citizen. We are part of this country. We are supposed to be number one. So the first thing is the government needs to change their perception about Nigerians. And if that is changed, then it will affect every other thing and how the whole government is.
Well, if we can get our graphics on the screen, the allowances and, of course, salaries of ministers. Let's analyze it and compare this to the palliative that is being sent to the state. We can have that graphics on the screen there so that we can look at it. The new ministers have been inaugurated, and their allowances is going to go up over 8.63 billion naira. That is the total allowances that the ministers, 48 people, are going to enjoy for the next 4 years. If you compare this to the total amount of money that is being voted for recurrent expenditure this year, is almost at par.
Exactly. It's what is important to the government. They feel like the ministers are more important to them than the people. But for me, I can say today that if the funds are available, if they are being paid, not a problem. But if the tax are delivered, if these guys can take Nigeria forward, Nigerians will not have a problem with how much they can earn. And at the same time, it's not even earning this much. It's taking the country backward. That is the problem. Would this be a solution?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Would this be a solution? Just a minor correction there. 8.653 billion naira compared to 8.5 trillion that we have for recurrent expenditure for the year. If you take out that money, it's actually a very large chunk to take care of just 48 number of people. So what will you say with regard to the Nigerians are clamoring for government to cost the cost of governance? And yet we're having this much
it's important.
Money going to just few people.
It's important. It's important. It's priorities. The government needs to start looking at the priority. What is important to the government right now? What is important to the government? There are sacrifices that are meant to be in place. And the people must experience and see this sacrifice put in place and said, okay, this allocation should be going this direction. But unfortunately, the point is, will this be the case? That's the big question. It's not saying it. Will this be the case? In a system where the paradigm, the underlying perception is wrong already, where the people are not as important as the government is.
There's no trust between the people and the government.
Exactly. So, and that's the real issue. Now, when the people are not as important as the government, the money will move to where the importance is to them, which is the government. So it's just, like I said, until the country starts relating with their people, put the people first. You and I should be first. You should be thinking about how can we make our people prioritize this country. I should be proud that I'm in Nigeria. And every sector, because that's not what the case is. What is important to this country right now is the government. When you get into the government, you benefit more. So the money naturally goes to the government, feeds the government, and that's exactly why the systems like this, the allowances will be very high.
Now, You did mention that although the president himself said that the poor should be allowed to breathe, but if you look at from May 2019 these days, the costs of living has, moved up astronomically. I don't know, in some areas over 500%, 400%, 300%, depends on your location, as it is right now. And it's even expected to go up further based on the feelers that we are getting. Now, what do you think government should do now, beside the palliative, to mitigate the effect of all of these things on the citizen?
Okay, so this is very, very important, because right now, if this issue continues this way, a lot of people are going to go at, like, the country right now is a mess. People are suffering, true suffering. In the past, even the suffering now, even the average guy that was living comfortably, that could afford to buy his fuel, put his own security, he's also feeling the heat right now. The real thing right here is the country should be made convenient for businessmen to thrive. The truth is, when cash is flowing very well, the economy will naturally increase. And you see, a lot of people are struggling right now because business are not even in the right tune. The government should come all out and enable small businesses, enable business owners to find a way to put in their business in the right state. Things like power, things like security. These are things the countries are suffering with. Things like transportation. Mobility is not with ease right now. So the focus should be, how do we make the roads better, interstates? How do we make transportations better? How do we make the economy better? How do we make the average man sit up and say, okay, I can do business with ease in this country? And if that is not in place, enough palliative won't solve the problem. I should be able to find it easy to do business in my own country.
Indeed. You are a business coach as well. You're a businessman, you're a business coach. This policies and programs that has been introduced so far has affected a lot of business, especially micro, small, and medium enterprises. Many of them have been affected by way of, operational cost, and a lot of them. And we know there's going to be a lot of reforms in the tax system. So what do you think now should be the surviving strategies for all of these businesses?
Okay, first of all, everything, you say you can go to, when you talk about power today, power has increased, fuel has increased, and
the exchange rate
has increased, making everything entirely. And now this is affecting every business owner. Like I was bringing some product out from the other from US. I get there down to Nigeria, and then when the rate went up, it went crazy. Things could no more work like before again. Now this is affecting everyone. The truth is, in times like this, there's a powerful statement that says, tough times never last, but tough people do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love to say that because that statement always worked for me. Now, the reason is this: when times are like this, every business owners too, I have to talk to them, they have to think out of the box. Yes, the pressure will be there, but you have to think out of the box. You have to think of other ways, other means to survive. And actually, that's what makes us Nigeria. Just that we can't keep closing our mouths because we know how to survive. And because we know how to survive, this has also enabled the government taking advantage of the surviving Nigerians. But I'm so sure a lot of Nigerians will still find a way to go through the curve and come out more successful.
Well, you can't take away the resilient nature of Nigerians. A lot of us, we can fix many situations, but some can't.
Many can't.
Many can't.
Yeah.
But now, a situation has been created. But government has told us that this policy is for the good of Nigerians. In medium to long term, the benefits will be there for everyone to see. But at the short term now, measure now is the issue. That is what the people are actually complaining about now. That is why government probably is rolling out these palliatives. If you recall, at the onset of this, government came out with a policy, that was similar to what the previous government did by way of distributing money to cash transfer to different people. That policy was rejected by Labour and by other well-meaning Nigerians. Now we're having this new policy now being in place. Some are talking about, you mentioned the issue of transportation. There will be call for us to move away from fossil fuel to maybe electric vehicle or CNG. So what do you think? How do you think that will mitigate the impact of all the hardship that we are having in the country right now?
Yeah, first of all, Are these not long-term plans? Because we having this plan, Nigeria has never had a problem with good plans. I believe that these guys can think. We shouldn't be acting like the government can't think, so we should think on their behalf. The problem has not been what to do. Right now, there are a lot of things that, in fact, people are presenting solutions every day. The problem is, how can good solutions be followed up on? This is the real issue we're having right here. We can come up with a great idea of how, okay, let's look at all this. Is this going to be a solution? Can we have this? These are great ideas. There are solutions already. But can I vouch on it as an average Nigerian that this will come to reality and solve the problem?
In 30 seconds before we go, the attention of everyone seems to be at the federal government. Everyone is just looking up to the center. Well, we have state governors. We have local government chairmen. This, only yesterday, over 900 billion was shared among the 36 states of the federation. You understand? Why are people not holding their governors accountable, their local government chairmen accountable? These people are elected representatives of the people.
This is power we're talking about right here. If there's an issue in any structure, you can't, if you make a decision to hold everything, you don't hold on anything. You hold on accountabilities. The problem we are having right here is accountabilities. When we get to the federal government, ideally, people are supposed to bounce back at the judiciary, because this is where accountability is supposed to be counted on.
Well, absolutely. Time is not always on our friend where we're having fun like this. I must thank you, Moses Egbiremhon.
Thank you, sir.
President, founder, Above Average Group, business analyst, and of course, public affairs commentator. I must thank you for your time on Business Daily today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, with that is a wrap on the show today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yusuf Akogun.